the world of love and hip-hop has been rocked once again, and this time the storm centers on none other than Keke Wyatt. Rumors had been swirling quietly behind the cameras for months, whispers of betrayal, secret romances, and shocking family ties. But no one could have predicted the bombshell that has just erupted into public view. Fans are shocked, social media is on fire, and the internet is buzzing with disbelief as Keke Wyatt's ex-husband has finally broken his silence. And what he revealed will leave your jaw on the floor. According to him, Keke was involved in a relationship with someone incredibly close to her own family, a claim so explosive it has left viewers questioning everything they thought they knew about the singer. The revelation is more than just gossip. It's a scandal that touches on trust, loyalty, and the very boundaries of family. And it has sent waves through the love and hip-hop universe that may never fully settle. Emotions ran high as friends, co-stars, and fans rushed to social media, reacting with shock, anger, and confusion. How could someone so beloved by the audience be at the center of such a tangled web? And how did the ex-husband gather the courage to reveal these details now, after months of silence? In an exclusive statement, he spoke with a mix of hurt and determination, painting a vivid picture of private confrontations, heated arguments, and the unraveling of a relationship that had once seemed unshakable. The family was left divided, close friends reportedly choosing sides, and even Keke's own inner circle is said to be reeling from the revelation. The stakes are higher than ever, and the questions are mounting. Who knew what, and when? What does this mean for Keke's career and public image? And perhaps most importantly, what will be revealed next as the drama continues to unfold? In the coming story, we'll dive deep into this sensational scandal, following the twists and turns of betrayal, heartbreak, and shocking confrontations, all while exploring the emotional fallout that has left the love and hip-hop world in utter chaos. Get ready, because this is a story that doesn't just whisper secrets, it screams them. And every moment is more shocking than the last. The moment the ex-husband decided to speak out, the love and hip-hop universe shifted on its axis. No one could have anticipated the magnitude of what was about to unfold. But as his first words reached the media, the room seemed to vibrate with tension. "I can't stay silent anymore," he said, voice trembling with a mixture of anger and sorrow. What people don't know is what really happened behind closed doors. It's more complicated, more shocking than anyone can imagine. Fans were immediately drawn in, social media exploding with speculation. The initial shock was tangible. Tweets, Instagram stories, and YouTube comments poured in as the claim that Keke was involved with her own cousin sent disbelief through every corner of her fanbase. The internet had never reacted this fast. From the start, the ex-husband painted a picture of a relationship that had been riddled with secrets and unspoken tensions. "We were young, naive, and we trusted the wrong people," he confessed. "I loved her. I believed in our family, but things were hidden from me. It wasn't just about us anymore. It was about a network of lies that I didn't even see coming." Every word seemed carefully chosen, yet carried the raw edge of someone who had been emotionally cornered for far too long. The drama didn't just involve him. It implicated family members, close friends, and even co-stars who had supposedly seen the signs but chose silence. The revelation triggered a whirlwind of emotions, turning private disputes into public spectacle, and making the saga an unavoidable topic for fans and insiders alike. As the news spread, reactions from people close to Keke were explosive. Friends who had once defended her fiercely began to hesitate, their loyalty tested against the growing weight of the accusations. "We never imagined it could go this far," one unnamed friend told a media outlet. "Keke was always so private, but seeing this come out, it's heartbreaking. We don't know what to believe anymore." The friend's voice cracked, revealing the strain the revelation had put on their relationships. Even on set, emotions ran high. Co-stars whispered behind closed doors, cameras catching glimpses of furrowed brows, tense silences, and whispered arguments that hinted at alliances being reconsidered. The ex-husband continued to recount details that painted a shocking image of betrayal and emotional manipulation. He described a series of late-night confrontations, heated arguments that escalated into shouting matches, and moments where the family itself seemed to fracture under the weight of secrets. "I remember walking into the house one night and finding messages that I couldn't explain. Texts that made me question everything I thought I knew about love, trust, and family," he said. "It wasn't just about infidelity. It was about crossing boundaries I never thought would be crossed, about a closeness that was too intimate to ignore." The drama intensified as he revealed that friends had noticed unusual behavior but were too afraid to speak. leaving him isolated and unsure of who to trust. Fans, of course, were ravenous for more. YouTube channels, gossip blogs, and social media influencers seized on the story, dissecting every claim, every hint of scandal, every fragment of dialogue. Hashtags like hashtag Keke Wyatt drama and hashtag love and hip hop chaos trended globally as viewers debated what was true and what was fabrication. Some defended Keke passionately, asserting that no public figure could withstand such scrutiny without their reputation being shredded. Others sided with the ex-husband, claiming the courage it took to come forward demonstrated undeniable credibility. The division among fans mirrored the division within the family itself, as relatives struggled to reconcile love for Keke with the shocking allegations laid bare. As the ex-husband detailed the timeline of events, it became clear that the story was more layered than a simple betrayal. He spoke of an initial period of affection that slowly eroded into mistrust and paranoia. It started with small things, he admitted. Calls that weren't returned, unexplained trips, a sudden distance that felt unnatural. I questioned myself, I questioned her, and I questioned everyone around us. Every time I confronted her, the answers seemed plausible, yet my instincts screamed otherwise. This tension, he revealed, reached a breaking point when he discovered the alleged relationship with her cousin. The revelation, he claimed, was not just shocking but emotionally devastating. Friends recounted private conversations where Keke appeared unusually tense, avoiding eye contact, and frequently checking her phone. "We knew something was going on," one friend said, but she never let on. It was like she was living two lives, one in public, full of charm and smiles, and another in private, full of secrets and tension. The ex-husband's narrative portrayed a woman caught between public persona and private decisions, navigating complicated emotions that spilled over into destructive patterns. The fallout didn't stop at the personal level. Colleagues in the music industry weighed in, some expressing disbelief, others hinting that similar stories of betrayal had always circulated behind the scenes. "In this world, you see a lot of things," said one music producer, who requested anonymity, "but when it involves family, that's a whole different level. It's heartbreaking, messy, and incredibly personal. People can debate talent and career moves, but family drama like this, it touches something deeper." The weight of his words underscored the magnitude of the claims, hinting that the repercussions would ripple far beyond personal relationships. Then came the social media storm. Memes, reactions, and speculative posts spread like wildfire. Fans debated morality, loyalty, and the consequences of secretive actions. Some videos speculated about motivations, suggesting jealousy, manipulation, or the pressures of fame played a role in the unfolding chaos. The ex-husband's revelations became a cultural moment, a story dissected not just for entertainment but for its reflection on human relationships, trust, and the hidden complexities of life under the public eye. The ex-husband continued, his tone shifting between anger, pain, and regret. He recounted moments when he attempted reconciliation, hoping to salvage what he thought was a foundation of trust. "I tried to talk, I tried to forgive, I tried to move past it," he said, his voice breaking, but the pattern kept repeating, and the reality of what was happening was undeniable. "It hurts in ways I can't explain. It wasn't just betrayal, it was the collapse of everything I believed in." This candid admission painted a vivid portrait of emotional exhaustion. A person torn between love, loyalty, and the unbearable weight of secrets. As the night of the revelation wore on, tensions escalated further. Calls were made, texts exchanged, and even private confrontations occurred in real time, streamed through social media updates and live reactions. Friends were caught between loyalty and truth, unsure whether to support Keke publicly or confront the situation privately. The ex described the emotional roller coaster of trying to maintain composure while witnessing the unraveling of a life he had once cherished. "There were days I didn't know if I would make it through," he admitted. "I questioned everything, my judgment, my trust, my love, and watching it all unfold, knowing the public would soon see it, added a pressure I couldn't escape." Even family members outside the immediate circle felt the tension. Extended relatives reportedly struggled with whom to believe, torn between defending a beloved cousin or acknowledging the ex-husband's painful testimony. Conversations became confrontational, gatherings awkward, and family loyalty fractured under the strain. Emotions ran high at every turn, with whispered accusations and pointed glances painting a picture of a family in turmoil. Throughout it all, Keke's public image remained fiercely controlled. Statements were carefully crafted, social media posts measured, and interviews strategically scheduled. Yet, Despite every attempt at damage control, the storm only seemed to intensify. Fans dissected each word, each glance, each carefully edited video, searching for hints of guilt or remorse. The ex-husband's narrative clashed with the public persona, creating a tension between reality and performance, truth and perception, private anguish and public scrutiny. The story took yet another twist when insiders revealed that the alleged cousin relationship had caused significant rifts behind the scenes of Love and Hip Hop. Producers, co-stars, and crew members reportedly found themselves caught in the crossfire, mediating disputes and attempting to navigate the fallout. The ex-husband described incidents on set where arguments erupted spontaneously, tears flowed freely, and alliances were questioned in whispered conversations in dressing rooms and behind the cameras. Every day brought a new revelation, every interaction a potential minefield of emotions and accusations. As part one of this unfolding saga comes to a close, the tension is palpable. The ex-husband has laid bare a world of secrecy, betrayal, and heartbreak, offering fans and insiders alike a glimpse into the emotional chaos that has upended lives. The Love and Hip Hop community watches, stunned, as the narrative continues to unfold, each twist more shocking than the last. And while part one concludes here, the story is far from over. The web of relationships, secrets, and lies remains tangled, promising even more drama, confrontation, and emotional intensity in the chapters to come. The revelations didn't stop with just words. They spilled into actions, confrontations, and moments that seemed ripped straight from a scripted drama. As the ex-husband continued to narrate the events that had led to the explosive confession, the intensity of the story deepened. He described one night in particular, a confrontation that would later be whispered about by cast members and fans alike. "I walked into the house expecting a quiet evening, hoping we could talk, maybe find some closure," he recalled, his voice edged with bitterness and sorrow. "Instead, what I found was a scene that felt like it belonged on a reality show, complete with shouting, tears, and accusations flying like daggers. It was the culmination of months of tension that no one had been able to navigate. The room had been divided, allegiances shifting as friends and family took sides, some pleading for understanding, others fueling the flames of conflict." The ex-husband described heated arguments where every word seemed loaded with past grievances, moments of manipulation, and the weight of hidden truths finally surfacing. "She looked at me with a mix of defiance and fear," he said. "It was like she was expecting the world to crumble around her, but not expecting me to stand my ground. I asked questions, simple ones, about loyalty, honesty, and trust. But the answers were tangled in half-truths and evasions. The frustration built until it reached a breaking point I never thought I would witness." His retelling was filled with detail screams echoing down the hall, doors slammed, and phones buzzing endlessly with messages from friends and co-stars, all trying to mediate or document the chaos. Fans reacted in real time, following live updates as clips of confrontations leaked online. Emotions ran high, with viewers debating whether the ex-husband's claims were valid or exaggerated. "It's unreal," one fan commented on social media. "How can someone be involved in something so personal and still live in the public eye? I can't even imagine the pressure." Another added, "You think you know someone, and then everything changes. The betrayal feels unimaginable." The public's fascination added another layer of intensity, turning private heartbreak into a spectacle for millions, and making every action, word, and glance feel like a dramatic revelation waiting to explode. Inside the family, tensions escalated as well. Relatives reportedly held private meetings to decide how to handle the growing media storm. Some demanded that Keke publicly address the allegations, while others argued for silence, fearing that anything said could escalate the situation further. "We were torn," one family member revealed anonymously. "Loyalty to Keke clashed with the truth we were seeing. It was painful, confusing, and every decision felt like choosing sides in a war we didn't want to fight." The ex-husband described how even small gestures, a text, a glance, a shared meal became loaded with suspicion, with every interaction potentially igniting new arguments. The alleged cousin, whose name remained under wraps in initial reports, became a focal point of speculation. Insiders suggested that their interactions had been noticed by multiple people over time, with subtle hints in conversations, social media posts, and public appearances. The ex-husband claimed that he had initially dismissed these as coincidences or innocent interactions, only to have the truth slowly unravel in a way that left him questioning the very foundation of his understanding of love, loyalty, and family bonds. "At first, I wanted to believe in the best-case scenario," he said, "but the pieces kept falling into place, each one more undeniable than the last. I realized I had been blind, not just to her actions, but to the reality of the environment around us. Friends and co-stars added to the chaos with their own recollections, offering conflicting narratives that only heightened the drama. Some claimed to have tried warning the ex-husband, while others denied knowing anything at all, creating a cloud of uncertainty and speculation. I remember being in a room where things felt tense, one former co-star revealed. The energy was electric. Everyone knew something was wrong, but no one could put words to it. It was uncomfortable, painful, and watching it all explode later, well, it's heartbreaking. The drama painted a vivid picture of a network of relationships under pressure, where loyalty, secrecy, and betrayal collided in an almost cinematic fashion. The ex-husband continued to share moments of private heartbreak, recounting times when he tried to reach out to Keke, seeking clarity or resolution, only to be met with defensiveness or silence. Every attempt to talk ended in frustration, he said. I wanted honesty. I wanted truth, but I kept hitting walls. It was like there was a script we weren't allowed to read, and the audience was watching us struggle blindly. Each unanswered question, each evasive answer, only fueled the fire and made the inevitable confrontation more dramatic. The depiction of repeated attempts, failures, and emotional exhaustion made the story feel as if the audience was witnessing not just betrayal, but an unraveling of the very fabric of trust and connection. As tensions mounted, the public's obsession only grew. Fan theories flourished online, with social media influencers creating timelines, dissecting videos, and analyzing posts for hidden meanings. Speculation ran rampant, some suggesting that jealousy, fame, or ambition played a role in the unraveling drama. Others pointed to long-standing family tensions, suggesting that the alleged relationship had roots that went deeper than the immediate scandal. Every theory, true or not, added fuel to the fire, turning the story into a labyrinth of intrigue that kept fans glued to their screens. The ex-husband detailed incidents that highlighted the psychological toll of the scandal. Sleepless nights, constant anxiety, and emotional confrontations became daily routines. I would lie awake at night, replaying conversations, analyzing texts, trying to make sense of what had happened, he confessed. I felt trapped between love and anger. Between wanting to forgive and needing to protect myself. It was exhausting, overwhelming, and it felt like the walls were closing in. The intensity of his words painted a portrait of someone struggling to navigate the collision of public spectacle and private agony, where every decision carried profound consequences. On set, the atmosphere mirrored the tension of personal interactions. Co-stars and crew members reported awkward silences, whispered arguments, and subtle power shifts as loyalties were questioned and alliances re-evaluated. Incidents that might have gone unnoticed in ordinary circumstances became charged with significance, every glance or gesture scrutinized as potential evidence of underlying tension. The ex-husband described moments where he felt completely isolated, even among people who had once been close, highlighting the emotional complexity of navigating public and private worlds simultaneously. The ex-husband's account also included moments of shocking confrontation, where accusations were hurled and emotions boiled over. One night, he described a particularly intense argument where family members were drawn into the conflict. Voices were raised, tears were streaming, and the room felt like it could collapse under the weight of the tension. He said, every accusation, every defense, every attempt at explanation only added layers to the chaos. It was surreal, like living inside a storm that refused to calm. These confrontations, while painful, revealed the deep emotional stakes for everyone involved, showing that the scandal was not just about infidelity, but about the fundamental rupture of trust and familial bonds. As part 2 of this ongoing saga closes, the story remains far from resolved. The ex-husband's revelations have pulled back the curtain on a world of secrets, lies, and emotional turmoil, leaving fans, friends, and family to grapple with the fallout. The narrative is only growing more complex, with new twists, confrontations, and emotional upheavals awaiting in the next chapter. Love and hip-hop fans brace themselves, knowing that what comes next will push the boundaries of reality and drama, leaving everyone on edge, desperate for answers, and unable to look away from the chaos that continues to unfold. The fallout from the ex-husband's revelations continued to escalate, as the story took on a life of its own, far beyond the initial confrontation. Everywhere you looked, the drama was unfolding in real time, fans dissecting social media posts, co-stars whispering on set, and family members quietly recalibrating their loyalties. The ex-husband spoke of moments that blurred the lines between private agony and public spectacle, recounting incidents that were so emotionally charged, they seemed scripted for maximum impact. "I remember one afternoon," he said, "when we were supposed to have a family gathering. It should have been a normal day, but the tension was palpable. Everyone was walking on eggshells, and I could feel the weight of unspoken truths pressing down on us. Conversations were forced, smiles were hollow, and every interaction felt like it could explode at any moment. The gathering, which should have been a simple reunion, instead became a microcosm of the chaos that had taken over their lives." He described how subtle behaviors suddenly became loaded with meaning. A glance, a casual comment, or a simple text could trigger suspicion and lead to arguments that seemed disproportionate, but were rooted in months of accumulated tension. Every move was analyzed. He explained, "I couldn't just sit quietly without wondering if it meant something. I couldn't trust what I saw or heard. Everything felt like part of a game I hadn't agreed to play." This constant scrutiny weighed heavily on him, highlighting how deeply the alleged betrayal had disrupted not only personal relationships, but the very perception of reality within the family. Co-stars and friends were caught in the crossfire. Some tried to mediate, offering counsel or attempting to calm rising tempers, while others took sides, each action rippling through the network of relationships in unpredictable ways. "It was impossible to stay neutral," one friend admitted. "Choosing not to act felt like betraying someone, and acting felt like escalating the situation. There was no safe space, no refuge from the tension. The environment became a pressure cooker, where even mundane moments were charged with potential conflict, creating an atmosphere that left everyone emotionally exhausted." The ex-husband recounted a particularly explosive confrontation that occurred when private messages were discovered. Messages that seemed to confirm suspicions he had long feared. "I didn't want to believe it," he said, "but the proof was undeniable. Reading those messages, knowing what they meant, I felt like the ground had been ripped from under me. I was furious, heartbroken, and completely unprepared for the storm that followed." The confrontation that followed was intense, with voices raised, tears flowing, and accusations hurled in rapid succession. Family members were drawn in involuntarily, each reacting based on their perceptions, fears, or loyalties. As news of the confrontation spread, fans reacted with an intense mix of shock, sympathy, and outrage. Hashtags related to the scandal dominated social media. Fan theories proliferated, and every update was dissected for nuance or hidden meaning. Some viewers empathized with the ex-husband, praising his courage to speak out and highlighting the emotional toll of discovering a betrayal of this magnitude. Others defended Keke, arguing that the story was sensationalized or exaggerated, pointing to her public persona and previous behavior as evidence that the claims might be misrepresented. The polarizing reactions only amplified the intensity of the drama, creating an environment where every statement, post, or video could ignite a new wave of controversy. The ex-husband detailed ongoing struggles with trust and paranoia following the revelations. "I found myself questioning everyone and everything," he admitted. "I couldn't tell who was being honest or who was hiding something. Even friends I had known for years seemed like they might be part of a larger scheme. It was exhausting, terrifying, and utterly isolating." This sense of isolation was compounded by the constant media attention, where every private interaction risked becoming public spectacle, adding layers of stress and emotional strain that made ordinary life feel impossible. Family dynamics further deteriorated as a result of the scandal. The ex-husband described meetings where extended family members argued over loyalty, truth, and the appropriate way to respond to the allegations. The once unified household had fractured, with divisions running deep and alliances shifting unpredictably. Some relatives wanted to confront Keke directly, he explained, while others wanted to protect her at all costs. There were secret meetings, whispered conversations, and countless moments of tension where I wasn't sure if anyone would make it through the day without an argument. These fractures highlighted the profound impact of the revelations, showing that the scandal was not merely a personal conflict but one that affected the broader web of relationships connected to the family. The narrative took another dramatic turn when the ex-husband disclosed attempts at reconciliation that ultimately failed. "I tried to approach her calmly, seeking answers, seeking closure," he recounted. "But every time I thought we were making progress, something would happen to shatter that fragile trust. Words would be twisted, intentions misunderstood, and the cycle of suspicion and conflict would start all over again." These repeated failures underscored the emotional complexity of the situation, where the interplay of love, betrayal, and family loyalty created a never-ending cycle of tension and heartbreak. Social media remained a relentless force in the unfolding drama. Fans shared reactions, memes, and commentary, amplifying every development and turning private turmoil into a public spectacle. Each post, video, or comment seemed to generate more drama. As speculation ran rampant and new details, whether verified or not, fueled the fire. The ex-husband's account became both a confession and a spectacle. A story that could not be contained. Constantly evolving and intensifying as it reached a global audience. The alleged cousin's role in the story added layers of intrigue and tension, though their identity remained largely confidential in early reports. Insiders suggested that their presence had been noticed long before the public revelation. Subtle gestures, interactions, and shared moments had fueled suspicion, creating an undercurrent of unease that eventually erupted into full-blown confrontation. "I didn't want to believe it at first," the ex-husband said, "but looking back, the signs were always there. Every interaction, every subtle hint pointed to a reality I was unwilling to face until it became undeniable." The dramatic realization of these truths intensified the emotional stakes, turning private suspicion into public controversy. The ex-husband's recounting of private family meetings revealed the strain of mediating conflicting loyalties. Relatives struggled to navigate between protecting Keke, supporting him, and maintaining family cohesion. "It was impossible to keep everyone happy," he explained. "One side wanted confrontation, the other wanted silence, and the tension in the room was suffocating. Every conversation risked igniting a new argument, and every decision felt like it could permanently damage relationships." The depiction of these high-stakes interactions illustrated the depth of the emotional turmoil, where every action carried significant consequences and every word was weighted with meaning. As Part 3 of this ongoing saga draws to a close, the intensity of the drama has only increased. The ex-husband's revelations continue to pull back the curtain on a tangled web of betrayal, loyalty, and emotional chaos. The love and hip-hop community watches, captivated, as the story evolves, with new confrontations, twists, and emotional upheavals promising to escalate the tension even further. Fans, friends, and family remain on edge, waiting for the next development, knowing that every moment could bring another shocking revelation. The drama reached new heights as the ex-husband revealed how the scandal began to seep into Keke's professional life, complicating her career and shaking her standing within the love and hip-hop franchise. "It wasn't just personal anymore," he explained, his voice heavy with frustration. "The tension, the secrets, the lies, they started spilling into her work." Producers noticed her mood swings, co-stars felt the strain, and the once cheerful atmosphere on set turned tense and unpredictable. Everything was colored by what was happening behind closed doors, and it was impossible to keep the personal separate from the professional. Fans watching the series noticed subtle changes, too awkward interactions during filming, moments of forced laughter, and unexplained absences. These small signs, previously dismissed, suddenly gained weight in the context of the ex-husband's revelations. He recounted a particularly intense filming day, where a disagreement with a co-star quickly escalated into a full-blown argument that left the entire set in shock. "The cameras were rolling, and it felt like everything we were experiencing privately was being broadcast without permission," he said. "The anger, the frustration, the hurts, it all exploded in front of the crew. People were trying to mediate, but nothing could stop the storm. It was raw, it was chaotic, and it was completely unavoidable." The incident quickly became fodder for gossip blogs and social media speculation, turning a private conflict into a public spectacle almost overnight. Social media amplified the chaos further, with fans analyzing every clip, meme, and post related to Keke and her ex-husband. Theories proliferated about the alleged cousin relationship, motives, and the impact on her career. "It's unbelievable," one fan tweeted. "You think you know someone from TV, and then everything falls apart. How can this even be real?" Another wrote, "This is why love and hip-hop is always drama, because life is always more complicated than we see on screen." The ex-husband observed the frenzy with a mixture of disbelief and exhaustion. "It was like the world was watching our lives unravel," he said, "and no one could separate fact from fiction anymore. Everything became amplified, distorted, and exaggerated. The lines between reality and entertainment blurred completely." The ex-husband's narrative also included the emotional toll on their children, who were caught in the crossfire of public scrutiny and private conflict. "Seeing the kids confused, hurt, and scared was the worst part," he admitted. "They didn't understand why everyone was arguing, why secrets had to be revealed, or why the world seemed to be watching their family like a spectacle. Protecting them became my priority, even as everything else seemed to fall apart." Fans responded to these revelations with empathy, understanding the profound human cost behind the sensational headlines. The children's perspective added another layer of gravity to the scandal, highlighting the deep consequences of betrayal and secrecy. The alleged cousin, meanwhile, became an enigmatic figure in the ongoing drama. Insiders suggested a series of carefully orchestrated appearances, private meetings, and subtle interactions that fueled suspicion long before the ex-husband went public. "It was like a puzzle," he explained. "Every interaction, every shared moment, seemed innocent on the surface. But when you look closer, the patterns become undeniable. It wasn't malicious, at least not at first, but the consequences were devastating." The tension surrounding this figure created endless speculation, as fans, friends, and family tried to make sense of the relationships and motives involved. The ex-husband detailed attempts to confront Keke in private, seeking clarity and resolution. "I asked questions that needed answers," he said. "Simple things, like why I felt so excluded, why the behavior felt secretive, why I couldn't trust what I saw. And every time I tried, it turned into a fight. Emotions ran high, accusations flew, and no one came out unscathed. The intensity was unbearable, but it had to be addressed." These private confrontations were described as emotionally exhausting, often leaving him drained and frustrated, yet determined to uncover the truth. Family dynamics continued to deteriorate, with extended relatives and close friends caught in a web of conflicting loyalties. "It became impossible to navigate," he said. "Some relatives wanted to support Keke no matter what, others sided with me, and some just wanted to stay out of it entirely. Every conversation felt like walking through a minefield, where a wrong word could trigger another conflict, and the emotional pressure kept building, day after day." The depiction of this fractured network highlighted the complexity and intensity of the drama, showing that the fallout extended far beyond the initial revelation. The ex-husband also described moments of public confrontation that further fueled the controversy. Interviews, social media posts, and live appearances became battlegrounds, with every statement dissected for hidden meaning. "Even when I wasn't speaking directly, my presence, my expressions, my reactions, they were all analyzed," he said. "And people turned those moments into narratives, theories, and judgments. It was overwhelming. The private became public, and the public became personal." The merging of these two worlds intensified the pressure on everyone involved, creating a cycle of speculation, confrontation, and emotional turmoil that seemed impossible to escape. Meanwhile, Keke's response is carefully measured and strategically timed, did little to quell the storm. Social media posts were scrutinized for tone, content, and hidden messages, with fans debating whether she was acknowledging the allegations or denying them subtly. The ex-husband observed the effect of these posts on their mutual acquaintances, noting how tensions escalated with every perceived slight or unexplained comment. "It felt like a chess game," he said. "Every move mattered, every word had significance, and every reaction sparked new drama. It was exhausting and relentless." Insiders also revealed the impact on the Love and Hip Hop production team. Producers, editors, and co-stars found themselves navigating an unprecedented level of tension on set. Filming schedules were disrupted, scenes required multiple takes due to emotional volatility, casual interactions became fraught with suspicion. "It wasn't just personal anymore," one crew member said. "The tension affected everyone, and it was impossible to keep the production on track. Every day was unpredictable, and the emotional stakes were sky-high." The ex-husband's account highlighted how deeply intertwined personal conflict and professional responsibilities had become, creating a scenario that was both dramatic and unsustainable. As Part 4 of this escalating drama concludes, the narrative has reached a point where the stakes are higher than ever. The ex-husband's revelations continue to expose a tangled web of secrets, betrayals, and emotional upheavals, impacting not just private relationships but public personas and professional environments. Fans, family, and co-stars remain captivated, waiting anxiously for the next revelation, knowing that the intensity will only continue to build. The story promises further confrontations, shocking twists, and emotional turbulence as it moves toward even more dramatic developments. The scandal intensified further as the ex-husband revealed that the emotional turbulence was spilling into unexpected areas, affecting friendships, professional alliances, and even casual acquaintances. "I started noticing subtle shifts in behavior everywhere I went," he said, voice tense. "Friends who had been supportive suddenly withdrew, colleagues who seemed neutral began avoiding me, and even casual encounters felt charged with suspicion. It was like living in a world where nothing was simple anymore, where every interaction had a hidden meaning. The weight of constant scrutiny and suspicion created a relentless pressure, forcing him to navigate a maze of emotional pitfalls just to maintain a semblance of normalcy. One particularly explosive confrontation occurred at a family event, where emotions boiled over in front of multiple witnesses. According to the ex-husband, Keke's cousin was present, and the tension between the two reached a tipping point. Voices were raised, words were exchanged that shouldn't have been spoken, and suddenly everyone was caught in the crossfire, he recalled. It wasn't just an argument anymore. It was a public spectacle, the kind of thing that people remember for years. Tears, shouting, and accusations flew in every direction, leaving a trail of heartbreak and confusion. Family members scrambled to intervene, but the emotional charge was too high, and the gathering ended in chaos, leaving relationships strained and unresolved. Fans and the public quickly latched onto this revelation, fueling speculation about motivations, loyalty, and the depth of the alleged betrayal. Social media exploded with hashtags, memes, and theories, each interpretation adding fuel to the fire. Some defended Keke, pointing to her career and public persona as evidence of integrity, while others sympathized with the ex-husband, noting the courage required to reveal such intimate and damaging information. The narrative became a global discussion, blurring the lines between reality and entertainment, and making every statement, social media post, or video appearance a potential catalyst for further drama. The ex-husband recounted his attempts to rebuild trust and confront the situation calmly, only to be met with evasion, defensiveness, and repeated conflict. I tried to approach her privately, seeking clarity and understanding, he said, but each attempt spiraled into tension, frustration, and new layers of mistrust. It was exhausting, emotionally draining, and emotionally unpredictable. The walls I thought we could build for protection collapsed repeatedly under the weight of reality. The repeated failures highlighted the complexity of navigating personal betrayal when intertwined with family loyalty and public exposure, revealing the emotional toll on everyone involved. The alleged cousin remained a shadowy but central figure in the unfolding drama. Insiders reported subtle but meaningful interactions, private conversations, and carefully timed appearances that had long fueled suspicion. It wasn't just about the actions themselves, the ex-husband explained. It was the pattern, the consistency, the undeniable evidence of emotional closeness that went far beyond normal family interactions. And when that pattern became public, the consequences were catastrophic. Speculation ran rampant, with fans analyzing social media posts, past appearances, and even minor gestures for signs of deeper involvement. The narrative also revealed the psychological impact on both the ex-husband and Keke. Sleepless nights, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion became daily companions, with each new development amplifying stress and uncertainty. I couldn't rest, couldn't relax, couldn't trust what I was seeing or hearing, he admitted. It was relentless. The emotional strain was unlike anything I'd ever experienced, and the fact that it played out in public made it even more unbearable. Fans empathized with the emotional weight of the revelations, understanding the profound human cost behind the sensational headlines. Professional dynamics on set became increasingly fraught as the personal conflict seeped into the workplace. Co-stars reported tension-filled interactions, spontaneous arguments, and heightened emotional responses, while producers struggled to maintain order and keep filming on schedule. It was a pressure cooker, one crew member explained. Every scene, every line, every interaction was affected. Even the smallest moments could trigger emotional outbursts. It was impossible to keep personal issues separate from the production. The ex-husband described feeling like a spectator in his own life, observing the chaos as it spilled into every facet of daily existence. As the story progressed, attempts to mediate the conflict proved largely ineffective. Extended family members and close friends tried to offer counsel or serve as intermediaries, but their efforts were complicated by competing loyalties, emotional exhaustion, and the intensity of the accusations. There was no easy solution, the ex-husband said. Every time someone tried to intervene, the dynamics shifted, alliances changed, emotions flared, and the underlying issues remained unresolved. It was a continuous cycle of conflict and temporary peace, a roller coaster that never seemed to end. The public remained captivated, dissecting each development, analyzing behavior, and predicting outcomes. Fan engagement reached unprecedented levels, with social media, blogs, and forums buzzing with speculation and opinion. The story transcended mere celebrity gossip, becoming a psychological case study in trust, loyalty, and the consequences of secrecy. People can't look away, the ex-husband noted. They see pieces of themselves in our story: love, betrayal, confusion, the struggle to navigate relationships under pressure. And that makes it impossible to stop watching, impossible to ignore. The drama also included moments of unexpected reconciliation attempts, fleeting moments of understanding, and brief periods of calm that ultimately gave way to renewed conflict. There were times when I thought we might reach a breakthrough, he said. Moments of vulnerability and honesty where it felt like the storm might pass. But each time, something would trigger a relapse: an old secret, a miscommunication, a perceived betrayal, and the cycle of chaos would begin again. These fluctuations kept everyone involved on edge, never knowing whether the next interaction would bring resolution or further turmoil. As Part 5 of this labyrinthine drama closes, the tension is palpable, and the story continues to build in intensity. The ex-husband's revelations have exposed an intricate web of emotional complexity, betrayal, and psychological strain that touches everyone involved. Fans, family, and co-stars remain captivated, waiting anxiously for the next turn, knowing that each development promises even more drama, conflict, and shocking revelations. The saga continues, with the stakes higher than ever, and the emotional turbulence showing no signs of slowing down. As the alleged drama in the Frost household continued to unfold, insiders claimed that tensions reached new heights, with every interaction fraught with suspicion, resentment, and unresolved emotion. Friends reported that Kirk and Rashida were navigating a relationship that had become increasingly volatile, with past secrets and the alleged adoption twist hanging over every conversation like a shadow. Emotions ran high, and insiders suggested that even seemingly mundane moments could trigger intense arguments, leaving the couple and those around them emotionally drained. According to sources, the private confrontations had become nearly constant. Late-night arguments, shouting matches, and emotionally charged exchanges were reportedly part of everyday life. Phrases like "you can't keep hiding this" and "everything will come out" were allegedly repeated with escalating intensity, reflecting a relationship pushed to its limits. Friends and family members were often caught in the middle, uncertain whether to intervene or distance themselves, creating an environment of tension and unpredictability. Social media continued to amplify the alleged scandal. Fans dissected every appearance, photo, and comment, searching for clues to confirm or refute the narrative. Hashtags such as #KirkFrostExposed and #RashidAdoption reportedly trended repeatedly, with comment sections overflowing with theories, outrage, and disbelief. Insiders claimed that the couple was acutely aware of the attention, with every interaction carefully measured to avoid further escalation. Yet despite these efforts, the alleged tension continued to leak into the public sphere, fueling speculation and fascination. The alleged strain extended to professional endeavors as well. Insiders reported that meetings, collaborations, and public appearances were disrupted by the ongoing private drama. Projects were delayed, events were canceled, and colleagues were left puzzled by sudden changes in behavior and apparent mood swings. The blurring of personal and professional spheres, sources alleged, created an environment where emotions ran high and control seemed increasingly elusive. Fans watching closely reportedly noticed subtle inconsistencies in public behavior, adding fuel to the fire of speculation. Friends and family members, insiders claimed, were increasingly affected by the ongoing conflict. Loyalties were tested, with some individuals aligning with Kirk and others siding with Rashida. Alleged betrayals and conflicting narratives created an emotionally charged environment in which private conversations often became battlegrounds for intense debates and accusations. Family gatherings reportedly became tense, with subtle hostilities replacing warmth and laughter, leaving everyone involved unsure how to navigate the unfolding saga. The emotional impact on children was reportedly significant. Sources claimed that they were witnessing subtle arguments, tension, and strained interactions that were difficult to comprehend, creating confusion and stress. Family members allegedly struggled to protect the children from the fallout while simultaneously managing their own emotional responses to the alleged revelations. The combination of secrecy, betrayal, and public scrutiny, insiders said, created a household in which emotions ran high and stability was increasingly difficult to maintain. Private confrontations reportedly escalated further as weeks went on. Sources claimed that heated exchanges, shouting matches, and emotionally charged arguments became a near-daily occurrence. Phrases such as "I can't trust you anymore" and "this will all come out" allegedly punctuated these interactions, reflecting a relationship in which tension and distrust had become entrenched. Insiders suggested that these confrontations left lasting emotional scars and deepened the sense of instability that allegedly characterized the couple's home life. Allegedly, every attempt at reconciliation was fraught with difficulty. Friends and confidants reportedly observed that even the most carefully managed conversations often triggered old arguments or revealed new grievances. The alleged history of betrayal, combined with public scrutiny and legal ambiguity regarding the adoption, created a scenario in which forgiveness was difficult and trust remained fragile. Insiders claimed that Kirk and Rashida were trapped in a cycle of confrontation and attempted reconciliation, with emotions running high and every interaction charged with tension. Fans remained intensely engaged in the alleged saga. Social media, comment sections, and fan forums were reportedly flooded with speculation, analysis, and debate. Some viewers expressed skepticism, claiming that reality TV frequently exaggerates drama for effect, while others accepted the alleged revelations as fact, pointing to leaks, inconsistencies, and behavioral patterns as evidence. Insiders said that the relentless public scrutiny only heightened the tension, contributing to the volatility and emotional strain in the household. Allegedly, the drama also impacted the couple's wider social circle. Friends, colleagues, and extended family members were reportedly affected by the escalating tension, with private disagreements and subtle hostilities spilling over into professional and social interactions. Sources suggested that each interaction carried the weight of past secrets, emotional complexity, and potential betrayal, creating a ripple effect that amplified the intensity of the alleged drama. New twists reportedly continued to emerge. Insiders claimed that previously undisclosed encounters, secret messages, and hidden conflicts were revealed, adding layers of intrigue, suspicion, and moral complexity. The alleged combination of passion, betrayal, and secrecy reportedly created a narrative that was both compelling and unsettling, drawing attention from fans, media, and insiders alike. The intensity of the alleged drama, sources said, ensured that each day brought new confrontations, revelations, and emotionally charged moments that kept everyone involved on edge. The alleged adoption claim remained a central point of tension. Family members reportedly struggled to reconcile their understanding of the couple's relationship with the shocking revelations. Private conversations were fraught with suspicion, defensiveness, and lingering resentment, creating an emotionally charged environment in which resolution seemed impossible. Insiders claimed that friends and confidants often felt powerless, unsure whether their involvement would help or worsen the situation. Public appearances, insiders alleged, often served to heighten the scrutiny. Sources claimed that every smile, social media post, and staged appearance was analyzed by fans, looking for inconsistencies or hidden meaning. The alleged private turmoil made these attempts at normalcy increasingly challenging, adding pressure and emotional strain to a household already charged with tension. The constant public monitoring, insiders said, contributed to an atmosphere where emotions ran high, leaving the couple vulnerable to further conflict and speculation. The alleged saga between Kirk and Rashida reportedly remained far from over. Every interaction, every conversation, and every public appearance carried the weight of past betrayals and unresolved tension. Attempts to reconcile, maintain professionalism, and manage public perception were all complicated by the alleged secrets, secrecy, and emotional volatility that defined the relationship. Fans, insiders, and family members reportedly remained captivated, anxiously following each development and speculating about what would unfold next. As Part 5 of this unfolding story closes, insiders suggest that the Frost household remains a space charged with emotion, suspicion, and unresolved conflict. The alleged betrayals, emotional twists, and moral ambiguity continue to dominate the narrative, keeping fans engaged, friends on edge, and the couple locked in a cycle of confrontation and attempted reconciliation. Emotions ran high, tension remained palpable, and the saga promises even more shocking developments, dramatic confrontations, and public fascination in the chapters to come. The story of Keke Wyatt and her ex-husband has captivated the world, leaving fans in shock, friends and family in turmoil, and the love and hip-hop community reeling from the revelations. It's a saga of betrayal, secrecy, and emotional chaos that has tested the limits of trust, loyalty, and public perception. As we reflect on the twists and turns of this drama, one thing becomes clear: the consequences of hidden truths can ripple far beyond what anyone anticipates, affecting not just the individuals involved, but everyone connected to them. The courageous decision to speak out has pulled back the curtain on a private world that most of us could never imagine, exposing the raw, unfiltered reality behind the glitz, glamour, and scripted moments of reality television. Fans are left asking questions that may never be fully answered. Was there ever a point of no return? Could reconciliation have been possible if the truth had come to light sooner? What role did loyalty, ambition, or fear